Hey, Space Cadets. Tin Pony here. Today I'm going to review a game that illustrates why early access and incomplete or untested games can earn such bad reputations for their developers. Yeah, I'm talking about X Rebirth. This is a game that was released in late 2013 by EgoSoft, and it's fourth in the X series. And it took some real crap reviews because it earned them. It wasn't ready for release, and it took 4 years for it to become ready for release. My review isn't going to be one of those. My review is for the game as it is in its current version of 4.3. Version 4.3 was released in late 2017, and since then, X Rebirth hasn't really done anything to deserve the bad reviews it got in the early days. Now, first, let's talk about what X Rebirth is not. It's not X3. You don't get to drive multiple kinds of ships. It's not X4, and it's not a reflex crushing shoot 'em up. If you're looking for a game that lets you vent aggression on a digital enemy with non-stop action and destruction, move along now because you're not likely to be happy with this one. X Rebirth does have a couple different modes. One of them is a sandbox mode where you just fly around shooting everything unfortunate enough to get in your way. But there's a whole lot more to it. For example, it has construction where you can build your own space stations that are going to produce items for trading on the in-game trade market to make you wealthy, or you can produce items used to build ships and other stations that produce other goods that your stations are going to need so you don't have to buy them from outsources. And the stations are automated by a crew that you hire and you train and you put on the stations. Now you can take over other ships instead of outright buying them. You put a crew on them and have the ships join your armada or protect your territories. Um, there are missions available that will gain or lose reputation with other factions. There are mini games that you can play to get valuable prizes, items that are going to increase your crew's training and skill set. And there's item crafting that makes those games easier. Um, Now, while you only have one ship that you can pilot, that's the Albion Skunk, uh, you can add any of your ships that you take over or buy or acquire through other nefarious means. You can add those ships to your personal squad for raiding or defensive purposes, or you can assign them to stations to defend the stations. You can assign them to stations for use in trading, in gathering and selling materials that are either produced or needed by those stations. Um, you can even use them to just patrol an area. Um, Now, upgrading the weapons and shields on your Albion Skunk is highly recommended as you can afford it and as you have the opportunity, uh, because you'll progressively run into situations that you're going to wish you had. The depth of the different aspects of the game are just so overwhelming. You need to be prepared to be surprised and frustrated and often at the same time. I personally have just under 600 hours of game time, and I've barely scratched the surface of my goals. While the actual short answers to simple questions are not always easy to find in the online help sources, and some tasks seem to take forever to complete, if you're looking for a strategy conquest game with battles and some heavy planning and decision making opportunities, this could be the game for you. This game has a very steep learning curve, due mostly to the vagueness of how to do things. But finding out how to play a game is half the fun, isn't it? Now, X Rebirth is available on many platforms, from the usual suspects that run online game outlets. Because it's an older game, it runs well on older hardware as well as new hardware, and it can be played offline. It's not a multiplayer game. Overall, I'd give X Rebirth version 4.3 a strong 7 or a weak 8, just because of the sheer expanse of opportunities and all the different directions you can take the game. Thanks for watching. This is Tin Pony.